Hello, my name is Lindsey Austin and I'm going to be auditioning for the part of Adelaide.
Ooh, oh my gosh, there's so many ways you can screw up an audition, and believe me, I have done them all. Let's talk about what not to do during an audition.
Hi, my name is Lindsey Austin. I am an aspiring Broadway actress.
Let's do a little role play. It's audition day, and you're going to be doing the musical Guys and Dolls, and you're auditioning for the part of Adelaide. You go into your audition knowing that you're going to nail it, but alas, you have left the audition room knowing that you're probably going to end up being a tree. This has happened to me many times, and I've developed a list of things not to do whenever you're in audition. It will definitely enhance your performance and better your chances of getting the part that you want. So number one is eye contact. This one is a little bit tricky because whenever you first come into the audition room, of course you want to make eye contact with the director. You don't want to be looking at the floor. This is their first impression of you as you're going to be on stage. Obviously, an actor who goes on stage with their eyes on the ground is not going to be, unless that's their character. If you don't display confidence or energy, that's a really big one. If you don't have energy walking into the room, then you're definitely not going to have energy on the stage. It's also important to remember state of the director. You want him or her to feel comfortable as well. You want to make eye contact while you're talking to them and saying, hello, my name is Lindsey Austin. However, during your audition, you do not want to look them straight in the eye because this is back on the state of the director. You don't want them to feel uncomfortable. If you're staring at them the whole entire time, they're going to feel very uncomfortable. Think of whenever, a teacher stares at you in class for a long time, you feel incredibly uncomfortable and you can't even pay attention to what they're saying because you want them to start looking at another student. At least that happens to me. That's exactly what's going to happen to the director. They aren't going to be able to pay attention to what you're saying or your talent because they're going to feel uncomfortable and almost a little bit intimidated if you're staring them directly in the eye. So the better place to look on them is right above their head, behind them, or if you've ever heard of the third balcony stare, you're gonna want to do that. Keep it open, keep it looking up into the third balcony or behind them. That way they feel comfortable watching you and they don't feel like they have to look away so that you'll look away. You're going to want to take a firm stand, keep your knee bent slightly, but you don't want to have them straight and locked because then you might faint and it'll also increase your chances of feeling uncomfortable. So if they see you in kind of a cut-off, locked-off position where you're hunching, you look scared, you don't want to make eye contact, that's going to make it very uncomfortable for them to judge you. But if you're open, you're taking up a lot of space, you're confident, arms behind you, you're saying, here I am, watch my performance. They're going to feel more comfortable to judge you and to actually see your performance rather than kind of pitying you. And you're going to want them to see your talent. Let me show you. As if you're dancing, you want to be ready to move. It's not like if you're dancing, you're not going to keep your legs straight. Or if you are a sporty person and maybe played volleyball or badminton or something like that, you will always kind of stay down in this kind of like a stance, kind of like this. You don't want to like be squatting like I guess you do in volleyball, but a feeling of energy. You want to be engaged. Keep your core engaged during your audition from the moment you take your stance. You're going to want to refrain from doing this, or because whenever you do this is a natural thing to do because you're in a vulnerable situation. You're going to want to make your body position more enclosed and smaller, and you're going to want to maybe walk in like this. This is not good because it's going to make you feel twice as vulnerable as you are. There was a study that I read about where they took people and they had them in two body positions. The first group was in an open position. They sat in a chair and they took up as much room as possible. And then the other group, they had to have a body position where they were smaller and they couldn't take up as much space. And then afterwards, they would test to see their confidence level with gambling and who would take the risk and who wouldn't. People who take up more space are more likely to have more confidence and to take risks. And that can be a very good thing in an audition. You're going to want to have confidence, not cockiness, confidence. Oh, take up as much space as you want in your audition. You're not going to want to keep your arms in front of you. Keep your arms maybe even behind you or up here like this, just hanging at your side. Whenever you do this, this is more of a comfort thing because it's a mental sense of protection between you and the judge. You're going to want to have as much of a barrier between you and the judge as possible. So we do things like we cross our arms, we put our arms like here, like this, we close up, we hunch our backs, all of those things to create almost a mental, physical barrier between you and the director. But this is a very bad thing. It's going to increase your fear and it's going to increase the barrier between the director and you want to break down that barrier. Another really important thing is to look into the mirror and practice. Practice is so important before an audition. Look into the mirror, judge yourself, have your family judge yourself, videotape yourself and watch yourself over again so you can find the little quirks that you have that distract the director from listening to your performance. Anything from tugging on your shirt to pulling out your hair to swaying back and forth to also something that really makes me mad. I don't know why people do this. They will start bending their knee like that. They'll be like singing, they'll the Phantom of the Opera is here inside my mind. It's very distracting. You need to be able to stand still. During your monologue, this is all for your song. During the monologue, however, now we're transitioning over to people giving their monologues. It's pretty much the same thing. Don't feel so locked and crushed into the floor. You can take a limit of 2 steps, I would say, because you don't want to be pacing back and forth. I would very much practice this part in the mirror as far as walking during your monologue. Stepping can be a very useful tool during a monologue because it gives you a physical energy push. Whenever you have a statement where you're changing directions, you can literally physically change directions with your body. And it's very, very good and useful, and you should use that tactic, but do not overuse it. You don't want to be pacing back and forth. You don't want to use that every single line. You want to use it just for the very important parts of your dialogue. I love him, but only on my own. When to leave your audition. Do not leave your audition exactly after you sing your song. And I know it can be tempting, especially for me, whenever you feel really uncomfortable after you finish your song. Do not immediately start walking away. Don't start walking out of your audition until you have some sort of signal from the director that they're done. Maybe they're taking notes or anything like that, or maybe they still want to ask you questions. After you're finished with your song, and wait for them to look up at you and nod or say thank you or anything like that before you start leaving.
Hello, my name is Lindsey Austin and I'm here to audition for Little Red Riding Hood. Into the woods to grandmother's house. No, ow. No.
I know how tempting it can be to try to wear a costume or something or do your makeup so that it looks like your character or anything like that, but try to refrain from wearing, the costume that your character is wearing or makeup or anything like that, even to a callback, because it can be very distracting. It also is kind of a sign of it's kind of cocky. It's a little bit overconfident because it kind of gives the director the feeling that you think you're going to get the character so much that you went out and you bought a costume to get the character. I don't know. I just wouldn't change anything about your look until after you have the parts. It kind of gives off a cocky attitude, and you don't want to have that. You want to have a very energetic, excited attitude about any part that he could give you. Like callbacks and auditions. Now, if you're auditioning for something like a high school production or something like that, this tip might not apply because it does. I don't know if it really matters. But if it's something like, community theater production or a stock theater production, this tip could come in handy. Whenever you are in an audition room and you're auditioning, whatever you wear for your audition, say I wore my pink jacket and this white shirt to your callbacks. It would be smart to wear a white shirt and the same jacket. They kind of have memory recall. They will see you in the same clothes, and it'll be easy for them to remember your first audition. Again, it probably doesn't matter with a high school production, simply because I come from a very small high school, and so they remember me no matter what. because we all know each other. And then lastly, I just wanted to say, have fun with your audition. It's an exciting experience, and if it's your first time auditioning, then definitely practice as much as you can, but do try to have fun with it, and don't let it stress you out too much. Always go in with an attitude, hope for the best, but expect the worst. I'm gonna put that up here. Hope for the best, but expect the worst. Which, I know it sounds kind of negative, but it'll keep your attitude about the musical open. And so even if you don't get the main character, or you don't get the character that you wanted, at least you have a character. It's not going to crush as much as if you went in there thinking, oh, I'm definitely gonna get this character, no problem. When you do get the lead, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna feel way better than if you were expecting it. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope that you find these tips useful in your next audition. Break a leg. Mwah.